Okay, so when I was a kid, if you had cable at home, I grew up in the 80s, you saw Highlander a lot. Okay, somebody, your friend yours had it recorded on VHS. You watched it over and over and over and over again. Had this guy in it, Connor McLeod, and the mantra was there can be only one. There's this group of immortals out there that can only die if you chop their head off, and if you chop another immortal's head off, you gain their power. Everybody knows the story. I never really watched the TV show at all. It was on in the, I guess, early 90s. I had a lot going on personally at that point in my life, so I didn't really watch a lot of TV. And I started binge watching it lately because I kind of out of other stuff to binge watch. And never really held an interest in me because I liked the movie so much. I'm like, Connor won. He was the only guy left. And then there was a follow-on movie I never saw. And anyway, so I started watching the TV show, and it was kind of surprising to me that it actually is pretty good once you get past the first episode or two. When you get deeper into it, this whole thing with the Watchers is pretty neat. But the part that got me was when you watch the movie originally, it's not a very long movie. It's maybe 2 hours at most. There's a lot going on. You've got Connor's got a love story. You've got to learn about the Immortals. You got all these flashbacks, so you can get Sean Connery in there teaching him what he's supposed to be doing. Um, and just it kind of moves pretty quickly. You've got sword fights, power going, you've got a police investigation. It's just there's a lot going on in a short period of time. So you didn't really learn a lot about the immortals and how they kind of how what it's really like to live for a couple hundred years and have the ability to never die. Well, first off, you never age, you never die. So how do you really deal with that? Do you kind of just change identities a lot? Do you you what's the deal there, right? So it's kind of nice to have the TV show that goes on for 6 seasons. I'm only into season three. That really does kind of get into first off, how do you become immortal? What's the deal there? And they do kind of explain that. Number two, you how is it that some of the immortals seem to be eternally broke and other ones really aren't? They're very well off. And it leads to like this guy right here. At one point, Duncan McLeod, he would randomly just go take, he'd go make 10 grand, put it in a bank, come back 95 years later, and 95 years of compounding interest. Right? He's got these bank accounts all over the place that are actually worth money. Shockingly, they're both antique dealers because they're pretty good at spotting fakes. And you can buy stuff really cheap, throw in a closet for 100 years and not care, right? Because you're immortal, you live forever. It's kind of an interesting concept, and I really thought I would be disappointed. I went into the show going, no, there's no way it's going to be any good, but it actually is pretty good. If you've never seen it, yes, it is early '90s. So of course the hair and costuming and some of the cinematography is a lot different than when we would do it now. Certain things are just sort of kind of filmed differently than what happened here in 2023. But all that being said, it has aged pretty gracefully. I really am enjoying it. And if you watch the original movie like I did, um, and grew up thinking there can be only one, well, it turns out there actually can be two, and they kind of cover that pretty well, I think. So if you've never seen it, it's over on Paramount Plus. I'm sorry, Tubi TV. It's not on Paramount Plus, Tubi TV. Uh, Give it a shot. It's really enjoyable.